Welcome back. This is Jennifer and I'm glad you're here. Today I'm sharing how to create rocking pendulum cards. I haven't made a card like this in some time and I thought I was due for it. So I will start by sharing 2 rocking pendulum cards. Then I will do just a regular pendulum card. Keep in mind you can do these techniques together or separately, but they're best when done together. The best part is you don't need any specialty dies to do these. Okay, let's get started with our first card. I'm going to show you how it rocks and swings. Now, forgive my video here. Nobody was available to help me film this, so I'm trying to make it rock and hold the camera, but you get the idea. As the card rocks, you can see the little unicorn going back and forth. This is such a fun and easy interactive card. I use the new Concord and 9th Magical Day die set. This includes 2 unicorns facing in different directions. I'll be using one. There are also little decorative accents, a cloud border, and a banner die for sentiment. I'll be using quite a few of these dies for this card. I'm also using the Coordinating Magical Days stamp set. You can see the sentiments up at the top that you can build together to create a sentiment and an arch that fits on the banner die I just showed you. And also there's like the face for the unicorns, and there is a mini turnabout stamp in here. So you can create kind of a magical background. It comes with this turnabout guide. If you've never done a turnabout, I'll link to a video up here on the top right. I'm not doing the turnabout stamping in this video, but know that it's included in the set. I started by creating the unicorn. This will be the element that rocks back and forth thanks to the pendulum design that we're doing. I created my unicorn out of white cardstock, and then I created the mane and the tail out of 3 shades of peach cardstock. So I just glued these together. I did layer die cuts together, so this would be super strong. I don't want this to kind of bend when it's being given to the recipient. So by stacking die cuts together, it's nice and strong, and I know it'll hold up. After my unicorn was assembled, I did stamp the eyes and face on it using the stamp set, and I have that element ready. Now let's create the card base, the circle card. Now I decided to create a card that is a 5-inch circle, and I used my pink and mane circle die to cut this. If you do not have a large die like this, you could instead just trace a plate or a cup or a bowl, whatever you want to create a circle element. I chose 5 inches. It could be smaller or bigger, up to you. I cut 2 circles, one from pool and one from white cardstock, that I'll glue together so it's nice and thick. I also cut the same size circle from a piece of printer paper so I could easily fold it. I folded this circle in half and then half again. This helps me to find the center point of the circle. Now in that little corner there, I will just cut a little hole with my scissors, just cut the little tip off there, then unfold it, and now we can have the center point of the circle. Just an easy way to do it. I'm laying this over our blue colored circle, and I will do a little pencil mark in that hole. So now I know where the center of that blue circle is. There are other ways to do this. I thought this was the easiest. Next, we'll need a small button. Just choose any button from your stash, something that's small and flat on both sides. You could also use a circle foam dot if you prefer. Then you will need a circle die that's slightly larger than that button. We're going to use that circle die to cut a hole right there in the center of our blue circle. This will be the spot where our pendulum can rest, and it'll allow it to swing back and forth. So if you don't want to do the pendulum, just the rocking card, you can skip this part. I'm holding these 2 die cuts together. I'll run it through my die cut machine, and that'll create a circle at the center of both of the circles. Now I'll glue these together. I could have glued them together before I die cut the small circle, but I didn't think of it. The reason I'm gluing 2 together here is that pool color cardstock isn't as heavyweight as I wanted it to be for this card. So by doubling up the layers, I can be sure that it's nice and thick. Next, you'll need another circle die cut, something bigger than the circle hole in the center of our card. And you're going to glue your button right to the center of that. Use a strong adhesive. I use Gina Connect. And then give that some time to dry. This will allow us to create a pendulum mechanism. The next element we need is a piece of acetate, something heavyweight. Simon says stamp acetate works, but you can also use some recycling. I cut mine to be about 1/4 inch by 3 inches long. On one end of the acetate, I'm putting some double-sided adhesive. I like Lawn Fawn's double-sided adhesive. And then we will put onto that adhesive a penny. Now, I choose to put a penny because it is the right size and it's heavy weight. I know some folks don't want to put a penny in their card. You could use a washer instead, anything that has a little weight to it and is flat. And you just glue that right to the end of your acetate. I do like to use an anti-static powder tool on that after I'm done, so there's no exposed adhesive that will stick when you have this in your card. Okay, so now we can start putting everything together. We have our elements ready. Our button is now dry on that small white circle die cut. On top of the button, I'm putting double-sided tape, and I will just cut the extra of the tape off just to make sure that the adhesive is only on top of the button. I will then put this piece behind our blue circle. So I'll just put it through, make sure I don't touch that adhesive, and you can see it fits on there nicely. Then I will press the middle of our acetate piece onto that exposed adhesive. So the penny is down there on the bottom, and you can see how it will swing freely because we have the button with a small circle cut around it. Once again, I use my anti-static powder tool to be sure no adhesive is exposed. If there's adhesive exposed, it might hinder the movement. Okay, now we can start putting things together. I do know I want my unicorn at the top of that acetate piece, so I can add that element now. I noticed the acetate was a little too tall, so I gave it a bit of a haircut. You can adjust it as needed. Now we need to add that unicorn to this end of the acetate. I recommend using 2 layers of foam squares or foam tape to do this. We want the unicorn to sit up from the acetate so that it freely moves when the card is assembled. That's why I layered up my die cuts for the unicorn so it was nice and thick and wouldn't warp when it is on this. So here I'm putting 2 layers of foam dots, then I can add the unicorn to it. If you have thicker foam tape, you could use that instead. Now I'll use my anti-static powder tool around the edges of the foam tape, and watch, you can see how the unicorn will kind of swing back and forth thanks to the weight of the penny there on the bottom. Now we want to hide that pendulum mechanism so nobody sees it. So I'm using the cloud border die to actually create some hills, and I'll slide this up underneath the unicorn, making sure to cover up that button, but leave some room for that unicorn to move back and forth. So once I'm happy with the position there, I will take the same large circle die and lay it over it, lining it up with that blue along the top, but taping it to the green piece. I then can slide the die and the green piece out, run it through my die cut machine, and now we have these grassy hills that will cover up our little pendulum mechanism. I created 2 more circle hill pieces just for a layered look and glued those on top too. You can definitely skip this if you want to. If you'd rather your unicorn be in clouds, you could definitely also have done this from white cardstock, but I really wanted to add some color to this. We'll use double-sided tape to add our green element to the card. So I just put double-sided tape along the curve, but not along the hilltop top edge. And you'll want to double this up. My foam tape is pretty thin, so doubling it up allows me to have more movement. We want that penny to be able to slide behind this very easily and not be restricted. It was really easy to add the foam tape like this, but you could use foam dots if that's what you have. And then I'll just slide that in and add it right onto our card. Next up, we can add the embellishments to our card and a sentiment. I thought I'd use the banner sentiment from the stamp set. I showed you the Magical Day. This has 2-part sentiments where you can stamp some of the letters in one color and some of the letters in another color. Concord and 9th has a few sets like this that allow you to create multicolor sentiments easily, and I just really like it. I originally was going to do the pool and peach color, but I decided to change to a pool and green color, and I'm using the banner die to cut that out. Cuts it out very easily. It also creates these little banner ends, and all you need to do is glue that to the ends of your banner, offset a little bit, and it gives a great look of dimension. I'll add this to my card, but making sure that it's low enough that it doesn't get in the way of the unicorn rocking back and forth. Just make sure you don't hinder that movement, so it's kind of steer clear of the unicorn. I also die cut a bunch of flowers and leaves from that same Magical Day die set and glued them around in the background, again, staying clear of the unicorn. I used some of the Concord and Ninth enamel dots to add a little bit of color and dimension to the center of the flowers. These dots are great. There are 3 different sizes in the pack, and there are different colors to match their cardstocks and their inks. Well, they do come with adhesive on the back. I have trust issues with self-adhesive, so I did put some strong liquid adhesive behind it, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Last but not least, we can turn this into a card that will stand up and rock, and it's super easy to do. I just cut another 5-inch circle from heavyweight white cardstock and put a score line at about 1 inch. I will then fold back and forth on that score line. This is going to be a hinge, so you want it to move pretty freely, so going back and forth helps with that. On my card front, I have some elements hanging off, so we'll just trim that. And you'll be able to see that white circle there on the back. You could cover that if you want to, but it doesn't bother me, so I just leave it there. You want that to be able to freely move, so your pendulum mechanism works. Okay, so now I will put adhesive on the flap on our circle on the left. Something strong up there would be good, double-sided tape or Gina K Connect. Then you'll take the front circle and lay that on top. Now this is the easiest way to make a true circle card that will stand up nicely on its own, and it'll rock really well. So here's a completed card. It's a 5-inch circle card, so I chose a square envelope to go with it, but you could use a 5x7 envelope if you prefer. Now it's hard to show the rocking, but it does rock back and forth. I'll do a little video clip here again in a moment. But the nice thing about this is it kind of wobbles back and forth. The unicorn moves, but it does stand and display very nicely. Now, if you don't want to have the pendulum, you could definitely just have a rocking card by creating the circle card and putting anything you want on it. Having the pendulum feature in there really helps with the rocking though, because you have that weight of the penny that keeps it going kind of back and forth until it settles. So I encourage you to give this a try, because you could use any little critter to rock and then any little embellishments around it. Now, I think it's best to see this process twice to better understand it. So let's do another card. This time we have a little rocket ship that goes back and forth. For this, I'm using a new stamp set and coordinating die set from Concord and Ninth called Out of This World. Now, this set also includes a turnabout stamp in it to create this circle of stars. Not using it today as a turnabout, but I'll use it as a regular stamp. Just wanted to show that it was included. So here's the coordinating die set. It works with the stamp set, or you can use it separately. And I'll create my rocket out of die cuts. It's really easy to assemble the different pieces. It's kind of fun to use different colors of scraps to create it. In this case, I made the body of my rocket a Gina K metallic silver cardstock, and I will double that so that it's nice and thick, as we did with the unicorn before. When I create rocking pendulum cards, I like to start by creating the element that will move first, so I can plan the rest of the card around it. Now let's do the card itself. I have a piece of navy cardstock that I cut into the 5-inch circle, and I'm using my printer paper circle here to create a little pencil dot at the center point. You don't really have to have this at the center. It could be a little up or down, but I think it really works well at the center. This process is just like we did on the unicorn card. We cut the small circle at the center of the big circle, and then I have another circle die cut here that I'm gluing the button onto. The button is slightly smaller than the hole in the center of our card. While that dries, I'll also take a piece of acetate that's about 1/4 inch by 3 inches and use double-sided tape to tape a penny to one end. This is just like we did before. Now, last time I created the large piece to cover our mechanism after we assembled the pendulum mechanism. This time I'm going to do it before. I'm just making sure that this white large cloud piece covers that hole in the center. My button's not dry yet, so I thought I'd go ahead and do this while it dries. So now you can see that will cover up that hole. Now, I thought it'd be fun to actually make this white piece a little bit of a smaller circle. You don't have to do this. It was just the look I was going for. So I'm taking a circle that's a little bit smaller than the 5-inch. So this is about 4 3/4 inch. And I'm recutting that white one. So now when I add this to our card, you'll see a little blue trim along the bottom. I just wanted some of that blue to be there along the bottom of the circle too. Totally a preference you don't have to do. I also used Hero Art's glitter paper, this is white glitter paper, to cut some thin cloud lines to glue to the top of our white pieces. So I cut once with the cloud, then I offset the cloud die a little bit and cut again, giving me this thin cloud glitter strip. I cut 3 of those and glued those along the 3 top edges of the clouds. So this will just give a little definition, a little shine, and add to the look of dimension. I'm gluing the 3 cloud pieces together to create one large cloud piece. If you want, you could just do the one piece and skip the layers, totally up to you. Now let's add a starry sky onto my large navy circle. I have a Misty sticky mat inside of my Misty stamping tool to hold the circle down while I stamp this star image with white pigment ink. Now this is that turnabout stamp, which is meant to position and stamp once and then rotate, stamp again and rotate in different colors to create a background. I just wanted it in white ink to cover this circle. So I'm just moving it to a new spot each time, using it as a single stamp and creating a starry sky. So don't feel you have to use a turnabout stamp as a turnabout. It can just be used as a stamp that you move around as needed. Now that the button is dry, we can start assembling everything. On the top of the button, I'm putting some double-sided tape. I'll put the button through the hole of our card, and then we can add our acetate right on top of that, again creating that pendulum. So I put about the middle of that acetate strip right onto the button, and you can see that it moves freely. Onto the other end of the acetate, I'm putting 2 layers of foam squares so that I can add my little rocket ship onto it. As I'm creating these, I often stop and make sure everything is moving okay. You don't want anything to be hindered or anything to be a little sticky, so it's always good to test. On the back of our white cloud piece, I'm putting 2 layers of the foam tape, again, just kind of bending around that curve, or you could do layers of foam squares, but you can see the tape is definitely easy to do. We can add this onto the navy circle and it'll leave a little bit of a blue trim right there along the bottom, and we'll use our anti-static powder tool to make sure no adhesive is exposed. Now I thought I'd create a few planets, imaginary planets, to go into our night sky. I have some die cut circles here using the die set from the Out of This World, and I'm stamping on them. I have my Misty sticky mat in my Misty stamping tool to hold the die cuts as we stamp. I find these sticky mats so helpful. I do like both the Misty sticky mat and the Brutus Monroe stamp and stick mat. Both are great options. Okay, so I'm putting my little planets into the sky here. I just will glue them down and then trim the excess off, making sure these do not get in the way of the rocket. If you put anything behind the rocket, it might stop that acetate piece from moving, and we don't want to do that. So I'm making sure we're steering clear of the rocket ship. At this point, I was a little bummed because I forgot to leave a large area for the sentiment that I wanted to use on the cloud formation. So I'm tearing off my first 2 layers, or my top 2 layers of the clouds, and I'll redo those and stamp on them before adding them to the card. I do this a lot. I wait for my sentiment to be the last thing. And if I can't use a die cut sentiment or a stamp sentiment that I die cut out, then I'm stuck, right? So here I'm just redoing it because I want to be able to stamp the sentiment on it directly. So I'm just rethinking this, die cutting the pieces as we did before, and I'll do the stamping on it this time. You can see the new version over there to the left, and now we can create the back of our card. I die cut a 5-inch circle from white cardstock, and then I'll do the score line that I fold back and forth. I do recommend that your large circles be either heavyweight cardstock or doubled up lighter weight cardstock so that it stands up nicely and handles the weight of all the elements we're adding. After gluing that small flap to the back of the main front circle, we have our folded card. Now this one, I did add a few little holographic die cut stars. Those star dies are included in the Out of This World set from Concord and 9th. And I like using holographic cardstock because it really catches the light nicely. Hard to see here, but that rocket is going back and forth as you turn the card or as you rock it when it's standing up. I tell you, these are super fun to make and really not that hard. You can use a lot of different products to do them. Now I did want to do a bonus card. This is not a rocking card, but it is a pendulum card. As you kind of rotate the card side to side, the unicorn does leap back and forth. So it is a way to use the pendulum effect without doing a circle card. For the background of my card, I'm using this new Concord & Ninth rainbow card front die. This is really cool. It would allow you to make some really fun graphic rainbow cards, but I'm just using it as a backdrop today. I off-screen cut these different rainbow arches with different colors of scrap cardstock, and I'm gluing them together onto a piece of printer paper. I felt it was easier to use this rainbow as a single piece than all of the different colors of rays. So by gluing them onto printer paper, I can just cut that out and we have a single rainbow die cut piece. Now we need to plan this out onto our card. I have a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch top folding white note card, and I'm just holding the rainbow where I'll want it to be. Then I flip it over and cut the excess off. I found it was easier to make this pendulum card if I didn't glue these together just yet. I need to create my little circle for a pendulum right in the center front of this card. So I'm using my T-ruler to find the center point. You want it to be centered from left to right for really the best effect, but it could be a little bit up or down from the center point. I end up making my circle a little bit down from center. So I have a small flat button and then a circle die that's slightly larger, as we've done many times. And I'll cut that from the front of our note card. Now I'm lining up the rainbow and then lining up the circle die with the circle we've already cut on the card, and then we will cut the circle into the rainbow. So it's in the same spot. I could have glued the rainbow to the card and then die cut after that, but I didn't want to put that much pressure on the card and squish it too much. So now I can glue the rainbow on there and the circle lines up right there at the center. I glued my small button onto a white die cut circle and I'll set that aside to dry. I also created a large cloud formation to cover up our pendulum so we can hide it. I did do the glitter cardstock along the top, the thin glitter cardstock strip, just for a little accent. I do have 3 cloud formations that I'm layering for that layered look, but these are all 4 1/4 inches wide, so it'll fit nicely on the bottom of our card. I used the cloud border to create these elements on all 3 of my cards, but keep in mind that could be straight or you could use a different border die. Now for the sentiment, I used the stamp Your from this Concord & Ninth Notable Number stamp set. It actually says You're Awesome, but I'm just using the word Your. I'm stamping that with black ink right onto our clouds here, and then I used an amazing die cut to go with that. The amazing die cut is from this Concord & Ninth Hip Hip Hooray die set. It coordinates nicely with this stamp set that you see here, but I'm just using the word amazing. I cut that from black glitter cardstock to use on our card so we'd have a little bit of shine too. Now that all of our pieces are ready, we can assemble our card. My button's dry, so I'm putting some double-sided tape on the top of the button, trim off the excess, then I'll slide this into our card and pop it through that hole. You can see that the button moves freely because that hole is a little bit bigger than the button. Now we can add our acetate piece to this, putting the button at about the center point of the acetate. You can see it swings back and forth freely. I'm putting 2 layers of foam tape around the back of our cloud formation, making sure just to put on the outside edges and bottom, but not along that cloud along the top. We can then add this right onto the bottom of our card. Finally, we can add our unicorn to this. So I'm putting 2 layers of foam tape onto that little piece of acetate that's sticking up above the clouds, making sure really just to put it on the top edge of the acetate, and then add our unicorn to it. That unicorn I assembled just like I did before, this time gray with white glitter cardstock for the mane and tail. And I did make him 3 layers thick so he's nice and strong. I finished off the card by adding some holographic stars from Trinity Stamps all along it so it would catch the light nicely. I also added a little flower and leaves to the mane of the unicorn just for a little added fun. So there you can see the glitter on the mane, the glitter on the clouds, and then the shine of the unicorn horn and also the stars in the background. So this one doesn't rock, but as you move the card, take it out of the envelope and such, you'll see that the unicorn does move back and forth. So I hope this video encourages you to create some fun interactive cards. You could either make a rocking pendulum card, a regular pendulum card, or even just a circle card that rocks without a pendulum. Lots of options and different ways to use the dies and stamps that you already have. If you are interested in what I do show today, I always link it below to multiple sources in my description here on YouTube, but you can also go to my blog and see much more information, lots of photos, and you can bookmark cards and videos for future reference. It's really handy. If you want to learn some other fun ideas, I have a couple other videos linked here in the middle. Thanks for spending this time with me. Have a wonderful week, and I'll be back very, very soon with another video.